Welcome to the Daily Space Weather, folks. We're starting things out looking at the sun on 171 angstroms. And before I even talk about it, I'd like to present you with a quote from the band Rush. The evening plane rises up from the runway over constellations of light. I look down into a million houses and wonder what you're doing tonight. Small active region here north of the equator. Let's zoom in on that real quick. And you see that's right underneath my mouse pointer there. And we've put up a circle for you. And let's get some tunes going. By the way, the original music, some of it, is available in the descriptions below the video. Here's the southern region, and we're looking at 8.5 hours here. Again, 171 angstroms. No sunspots. Here's a colorized magnetogram showing that active region to be cycle 25 plage. If you're wondering what a plage is, it's a sandy beach and an area on the sun associated with higher magnetic activity, but not high enough to be a sunspot. Here's the south, and again you can see there are no other areas of any sort of activity on the Earth-facing portion. GOES X-ray flux isn't completely flatlined, but awfully close, and there's the data from that. 10.7 centimeter radial flux has popped back up to 71, having dropped back down to 70 for a brief period there, and the KP index is at 1. Coming up off of the floor where it was recently at 0. There's the data from the ACE spacecraft. It's the SWIAP looking at the solar wind. And let's look at the real time from the Discover. And there you can see our phi angle is sort of zeroing in here on 180 degrees perhaps. Could be a sun to earth magnetic connection, who knows, something to keep an eye on throughout the day. Solar wind density quite low at 1.77 protons per cubic centimeter. And we just saw a little uptick here in the solar wind speed, down from nearly 300 up to about 350 kilometers per second. Here's the geospace magnetosphere movie. And the geospace is looking fairly weak here. A little bit of an anomalously shaped Van Allen belt here on the equatorial plane view. You can see that area out there. It's a little bit oblong. Nothing to get your panties all bunched up about, folks. Pretty normal here as the solar wind's fairly steady. Here's the geospace ground magnetic perturbations. And this 4 hours of data courtesy of University of Michigan Geospace Model V1.5, which is based on the Space Weather Modeling Framework, by the way, folks. And welcome to the magnetic excursion, as we have 2 north poles and a south pole creeping into the Indian Ocean toward southwestern Australia. Some say southern Australia, and I'm going to let that play through again so you can see all of the data. Not a lot of big ground perturbations going on here. The main ones in the north are over the Canadian North Pole as opposed to the Siberian. And the ones in the south are in the northeastern portion of Antarctica toward southwestern Australia. Relativistic electrons have dipped and looks like they've finally leveled off. That information is at solen.info. That's SOLEN.info. And we're expecting the GOES electron flux to rise up within the next 24 hours, actually. In fact, on this cycle, as the satellites approach noon local time, which is what these N's and M's designate. For instance, the GOES 16, which is the blue one, will show higher electron flux levels here today, a little bit higher, and we don't want to get too into it. Here's the total electron content forecast, and we don't look at this one every day. Let me just rock that through there, and there you can see all the timestamps. No big major GPS errors are expected, as we're seeing quite low levels, and they should get into more moderate levels. Now the ionosphere is looking very weak. It's looking quite discharged on the sun side and the night side. You can see that sudden discharge in the northern hemisphere there, where the F2 layer broke down to an F layer. When you see the red blobs, folks, that's only 1 megahertz, and that's not even an F2 layer, that's just an F layer. And not good for radio signal propagation, let's just say. Here's the latest image, that one coming in at 8:30 UT. Some anomalous measuring, looks like measuring errors down here in the south on the prime meridian once again. And there's the GOES magnetometer data. As we are subtly in the South Pole oriented portion of the heliospheric current sheet. And let me just take an opportunity to explain why we make the videos. The reason why we make these videos is because we are looking at data that nobody else on the internet is looking or attempting to tie together. Now, sure, some folks are probably looking at some combination of the data, but it's taken me several months to figure out which data I want to present, as this is the stuff that I look at, and so I'm sharing it with the viewers, not to mention friends and family. Anyway, there's the data from Gong 2. Not a lot to really talk about there. Let's bring up the last frame, and you can see the South Pole current sheet going about 270 degrees around the sun right now, as the South Pole is in charge of the polarity of the current sheet. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. There's where stuff will be in a week. Just coming off of the next new moon, as Venus makes its way into the lonely territory. Now, we did see one 6 magnitude earthquake. It was a 6.0 on the island of Papua New Guinea. There's the location of that. We'll zoom out and then we'll go up the list. That quake came in at 16:38 UT yesterday afternoon. And let's go back to the list here. So we see a deep quake in western South America there. That one located in Argentina, 4.3 magnitude at 210 kilometers. And we're just going to scroll up the list, covering anything I feel like covering. There's a quake at Iceland, at a hot spot in between the North American and European plates. Again, there's that 6.0 at Indonesia, on the island of Papua New Guinea. There's another deep quake in western South America, that one in Peru, 4.5 magnitude at 105 kilometers depth. An extreme deep quake south of the Fiji Islands, and this is the deep quake capital of the world, folks. We see more deep quakes there than any place else, hands down. 4.7 magnitude quake at 537 kilometers depth. If that happened at the surface, that would be nearly a 7 magnitude quake. Here's one in Taiwan. Please leave a comment, David Dubine, if you felt that quake. Leave a comment even if you didn't, David Dubine. And let's go to windy.com, who has a great mobile app, by the way. It's free, and it's fantastic. This is where pressure zones are now, and we're going to let this advance about 24 hours. We usually let it go until about 12 Zulu the next day. That's 12 Universal Time, Greenwich Mean Time, whatever the hell you want to call it. And there's where things will be at about that time tomorrow. If you're wondering what time it is when we made the video, it's 3:43 a.m. Next, we'll head to volcanodiscovery.com and run down the list. Today's volcano list includes Mount Aso. Not sure how big the cloud is there. Kuchinarabu-jima, 3,000-foot ash plume there. Sakurajima, 8,000-foot plume there. Flight level 14,000 at Semeru, so that's an uptick at Semeru. Dakono, 7,000-foot ash plume there. Fuego has dissipated its ash. Sangay, possible ash cloud there. Revenador, 15,000-foot ash plume there. And Sabancaya, intermittent emissions. Please do not attempt to do the triple Lindy. over Sabancaya. Here's where lightning is striking currently. And we just saw a big bolt in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Let's check it out. Is there a cell there? Was there a sprite near Pico Alto? By the way, I had a dream last night that I moved to Bermuda and got fired from my job, which wasn't my current job. It was some different weird job, and it really sucked. It was a stressful dream. And I woke up disappointed that I didn't go to Bermuda and glad that I didn't have that stupid job, whatever it was. Here's where the jet streams are, and that anticyclone has finally moved a little bit east of Alaska, and we're seeing extreme meridional jet stream flow here, especially over the North Atlantic, where the jet stream is turning 180 degrees over a matter of a couple hundred miles. Here's the eastern world. Some extreme meridional jet stream flow down there south of Australia. Looks like it's pulling Antarctic air all the way up into the coast. And let's continue on here. Value added service of the U.S. Doppler radar map. I could have sworn I had it animated, folks. Anyway, there's the U.S. Doppler radar map. As it looks like our snow has turned to rain. And I am still working on Sunday mornings, folks, so haven't quit the job yet. It's a job. It's a job. Applied science. If you've ever worked in applied science, people will tell you it's very difficult. You can hereby believe them, as applied science jobs are super hard. Most of the work I do, folks, isn't because it's easy, it's because it's difficult. Anyway, here's the U.S. water vapor map, and you can see the jet stream pushing into Wisconsin, northern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. And it looks like the temperature is going to be dropping here. Let's look at this convergence zone over North Texas, as that is my favorite choice today for convergent weather patterns. And there you have that system, where some moist air is colliding with drier, more massive air there. Remember, folks, dry air is more massive than moist air due to the molecular mass of nitrogen versus water vapor. Yes, nitrogen is more massive than water vapor, folks. Believe it or not. And this is why your bicycle goes faster on a hot, humid day than on a cold, windy one. People think the air is thin when the air is cold, and it couldn't be more the opposite, folks. This is why a hot air balloon floats. And here ends today's weather lesson. If you enjoy the content, please don't forget to press like and subscribe on YouTube, as we've got hundreds and hundreds of daily space weather videos, and now cosmology segments coming out on the daily. Did you watch yesterday's? Yesterday's was about WIMPs and hot gas surrounding the Milky Way galaxy and stuff like that. Please consider becoming a patron, as our patrons are the real source of funding for the channel. So thanks, patrons, for being assistant producers at the intro level, and associate producers if you've joined at the gold level. And thanks, Smash Team, for viewing the videos. Let's get to some bonus features. Have you headed to smashomash.org yet? Did you scroll down and click on the link to the Smash forum? Well, it's awesome. We're nearly at 100 users already, and we barely had this thing out for a week. Thunderbolts Project has a new video out. Ray Gallucci, strobe star or neutron star at Space News. And also there's a thread over there completely dedicated to Göbekli Tepe. So if you want to read all about Göbekli Tepe, head to smashomash.com/forum. And thanks for commenting, Eden, aka Kimberly. And I haven't even gotten through your comment yet. I just wanted to note to everybody that it's there. And here's a small clip from Ray Gallucci's strobe star or neutron star. This is about the implausibility of stars spinning at the speed of dental drills.
The discovery of an X-ray pulsar in Sagittarius with a period of 0.0025 seconds That is, it's rotating at 24,000 revolutions per minute.
So 24,000 RPM, similar to the speed of a dental drill, is this star allegedly spinning. It's mathematically implausible that pulsars behave the way classical astronomy claims that they do. Let's talk economics for a quick moment. First, currencies. And it turns out that the US dollar is still the strongest currency. I mean, there are a lot of folks trying to find safety in US bonds right now. That's part of the reason why the bond yield inverted and everybody freaked out about a recession. And just wanted to cite the fact that the US dollar is still looking quite good despite all of the turbulence around the world. Now let's talk about commodities for a quick moment. Oil is still very cheap at 58 bucks a barrel. But more importantly, gold is finally off of its highs. And let's just show you that image real quick. The 1-year chart of gold. A very important market indicator here, as this is where people tend to flee when the stock market or currency markets look weak and they don't want to buy bonds or stocks. Finally off its highs is gold. Silver finally off of its highs too, I believe. Now at $18.04 per ounce. I still prefer silver over gold. If you're a new viewer, folks, you may not have heard me talking about silver last year or in late 2018 when it was less than $14 an ounce. Anyway, there's the 1-year chart of silver. And I'm just going to scroll down the agricultural futures here. Just let that display. So if you guys are interested in commodities trading, for instance, part of the real economy, folks, and most people overlook it. Cocoa at $27.99. I don't know what the units are for that, but anyway, let's move on to the exciting world of cryptocurrency. Now, I'm not a huge fan of cryptocurrency. I do own a small token investment, basically just as proof of concept. So let's look at Bitcoin on the Coinbase exchange there. There's the 1-year chart of Bitcoin. Let me shrink that down so it displays. There's the 1-year chart of Bitcoin as reported by the Coinbase exchange. Currently at $9,077. So a big uptick there from its lows, which were in early this month. Let's also look at Ethereum on the same exchange. That's the Coinbase exchange, folks. If you're not sure about the exchanges, take it with a grain of salt, as the volume data is often incorrectly reported on these exchanges. It's often inflated. So there's the current state of affairs of the second biggest cryptocurrency, the first being Bitcoin. There's the 1-year chart of Ethereum as reported by Coinbase. So well off of its lows, and that's a good thing for crypto investors, as there is some more interest being shown in the crypto markets. Perhaps get a Coinbase account. There's all kinds of ways to earn free cryptocurrency. Did you watch yesterday's cosmology segment? I mean, I should hope you watched yesterday's cosmology segment. But if you didn't, check youtube.com/smAshomash or perhaps bitshoot.com/smAshomash to check out yesterday's cosmology segment. We talked all about WIMPs and hot gas around the Milky Way in the halo. So check that out if you haven't done so. Here's another bonus feature. It's the local yellow dwarf's colorized magnetogram. Let's look at that active region. That cycle 25 plage. There you have the close-up of that. And last but not least, let's end things with a 48-hour video of the sun. And let's go to the 304 angstroms view here, 48-hour video. You can see this giant plasma filament collapse up here in the northeast. There's that plasma collapse. Here's the southern region, some big filaments down there also. Again, looking at 48 hours here, folks. Let's zoom out and close this thing out. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. Remember to stare at the sun, use the proper instruments like the SDO. Don't drink, and if you do, don't drive. Really, seriously, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back, and that atherosclerosis absent. from your veins.